Welcome. Today topic is project management executing process group. Today we are going to discuss about executing process group. This is kickoff meeting. At the end of the project planning process and kickoff meeting should be held. So all parties, that is sponsor or organization business unit, PMO, portfolio managers, project team, so these are all will be in this kickoff meeting. The main objective of kickoff meeting is to familiar with each other and everyone familiar with the project. So that is the main objective of kickoff meeting. So in this meeting, project manager reviews the project scope, schedule, budget, risk and communication management plan. So he reviews the entire project management plan document in this meeting, and so that everyone have a brief idea of what is this project, and then everyone will get to know that and get to know about this project, and you get the formal acceptance of the project planning document. The outcome of planning process group is project plan document and then project documents which is associated with this project planning document, that is scope manage, that is requirement traceability matrix, risk register, roles and responsibility matrix. So those documents will be input to the executing process group. So executing process group is to execute the project plan, to deliver, to produce the deliverables. So what is the main responsibilities and roles of project manager in executing process group? So in executing process group, the project team work on their work packages and produce the deliverables. So this is the executing process group. In executing process group, execute the project plan document. Project team start working on project and then produce the deliverables to meet the project objectives. So in this execution process group, what is the project manager and will perform, and what is his roles and responsibilities executing process group. So first is ensure the common understanding of the work. Common understanding the work, so that means everyone, stakeholders and project team have the latest version of project plan document, that is latest baseline version of project planning document and other project documents. And if you had any communication with the stakeholders, and if you have sent any communication with the stakeholders and you didn't get any reply, that their confirmation on the requirements, so he makes sure that he has a latest version of the scope statement. So that is ensure the common understanding of the work, and then everyone have the same version, that is latest version of the baseline project plan document. Resolve the problems. project manager resolves the problems and removes the roadblocks. So any project team, we make sure that the project team will have the tools, software, knowledge, skills to perform this project. And then if there is any problems over there, and he resolves the problems. And so once he got the team from human resource department, once he acquired the team and he authorized the project team to work on this work packages using work authorization system. So some organization will have work authorization system software. Through the software he authorized to work on work packages. So project team will start working on these packages. So the project team will work on these work packages and produce the deliverables. So the execution process group outcome is produce the deliverables, and most of the time and cost spent here because actual work is being performed in this execution process group, and then they produce the deliverables. And project manager always in execution, when project team is working on work packages, and project manager will observe and monitor the work performance and how it is project is going. And then he try to look for exceptions to the plan and monitor and observe. So some things in this execution process group, and it might lead to change in the project plan document. So project manager need to identify those exceptions and identify if there is any need to change the project plan document. Depends on how the project is performed, and depends on the findings. When the project is performing, it might lead to the project planning document changes. So that is the exception to the project plan document. So something event that lead to change the project planning document. So that he need to find it out at initial stage itself, so that it will not create any huge problems. So project manager always focus on for exception to the plan. So the project is performing, something is deviating from the plan, or something is happening which is not defined in the plan. So project manager will always look for exception to the plan. The project manager will use his expertise in project management, and expertise in dealing with the project team, and expertise in dealing with the stakeholders and communication. So he focus on preventing the problems rather than dealing with them as they arise. So using his expert knowledge in project management, and he sense it if there is any problem might trigger because something has happened in the project, how the project is going, and he is observing and monitoring. He sense the problems at initial stage itself. So you using his expertise in project management, so he resolve the problem before it arises. So the project manager is always focus on how project is going, and is there is there any event that either any something is lead to the problems, and he sense it at initial stage itself and he act on this. So this is project team produce the deliverables. So that interim deliverables, he gets the approval from the stakeholders, and if there is any changes required, so this update project document and re-baseline the documents. So these are all comes under, this is the project manager is going to perform all these tasks. So that is comes under direct management process as part of integrated management plan. So he perform the direct and manage the project. So he direct and manage the project. So as part of the quality management plan, we perform the quality assurance. So ensure that implement the quality assurance procedures and follows policies and procedures. So ensure that team follows this quality assurance procedures. So every deliverable goes through this quality assurance. So implement the approved changes, including corrective actions, preventive actions, and defect repairs in corresponding quality standard documents. So ensure that project lead or project team or lead updates this in project documents, and then in future ensure that that problem will not be repeated. So find the cause of the problems, and in future that problem will not be repeated and it will be documented. So process improvement plans, if any project team member comes up with a better process, so he take it and then he will assess it with the quality assurance management. If that process really helps the project, and then they will review it and then they will approve it. Once it approves, the project manager will follow this new process for future course of the project. So another major role of in executing process group, another major role of project manager in executing process group is communication management plan. So he has to communicate, he is observing, he is monitoring, and then his findings has to communicate, and he has to communicate the work performance to the stakeholders. So that is manage stakeholder expectations. So while project is going and while project is executing, and what's happening at the project, and that has to be communicated to the stakeholders, and stakeholder will have expectations, and project manager must have committed their expectations in planning process. So accordingly he has to send the information as per the what he committed. So sometimes he committed to send reports with the specified format, and sometimes some stakeholders might want to know what the status of the project in weekly, and some stakeholders wanted to know that what is impact on their process because of this project, so he would like to know that. So these are all expectations defined, and then project manager has to communicate with all stakeholders as per the expectations. So that is project manager will do, and set and manage expectations of stakeholder, and establish and manage communication channels between the project team and project manager, and between themselves and then and stakeholders. So establish and manage communication channel, and regularly we'll have a status meetings and get to know how the project is performing, and how the project team is, how much work is completed, how much work is yet to be completed, what he project team did in this week, and what is will going to do in next week, and is there any issues, and last week issues will resolve, the project manager resolves and communicate with the project team, and he get to know that status of the work. So he prepares the status reports and sends to the corresponding stakeholders. Distribute information. So when project is being performed, and then he get the info about how this project is being performed, that info need to be sent to the stakeholders, so that they must know that so this project is performing as per the timeline, as per the defined in the project plan. So he produced the project reports, and then some stakeholders needs in specific format, so he prepares the reports specific format and sends to those stakeholders. So might be portfolio managers need the different kind of reports, so he sends the reports to them. So always sends and receive information, how this whatever he finds in while executing the project, and he finds the info, and that must be communicated with the senior management or sponsor, organization, business unit, and then sometimes that some information the project team has to know that. So whatever he finds it, and then that he need to send and receive information, so he need to send the corresponding stakeholders, and then make sure that they understood what he said, and they make sure that receive the content, and then make sure that is receive the confirmation from those stakeholders. So ensure continuous agreement of stakeholders to project management plan. So the project manager get the approval of interim deliverables. If there is any changes, goes to the integrated change control process and re-baseline the project management plan, and communicate with all stakeholders, and then have a regular meetings. Project manager will have a regular meetings with stakeholders, and then during that meeting and ensure that continuous agreement of the stakeholders to project management plan. So another major responsibility of this project manager in executing process group is human resource management plan. He has to manage the project team. He need to provide what's required. Project team is required. He need to resolve the problems. So he need to make sure that project team is working as per expected project, as per the project plan document. So you need to manage the team. So to manage the resources, human resources, where he performed the acquire project team process, develop project team process, and manage project team process. So acquire project team process at the start of the executing process group, as per the human resource department is committed the resources for this project. He acquires the project team, and then make sure that all team members have skills and information equipment needed to complete the work. So project manager during the execution process group will meet with the human resource managers to reconfirm the resource requirements. So as per the project plan document, and phase 1 might need some resources, when we are moving to the design phase it requires another set of resources, and then when you move to the code phase it's required the more resources. So as per the project plan, we make sure that he is reconfirming that he is getting the resources as per the project plan document, and develop the project team. And he got the team. Now he has to communicate with the project team, and so the project manager and project team must have a good communication between them. So communicate honestly and efficiently with the project team and establish trust between the project manager and project team and stakeholder. So in project management the communication is very much important, and then he has to communicate effectively with the project team and about the project and get the status of the project. And so if there is any training is needed for the team members, so you obtain the needed training. And when they have the status meetings, and he establish a ground rules for team member behavior in the meetings. So when someone is talking, some other team member should not interrupt. If you want to interrupt, what is the way to interrupt? So he established some ground rules for the team meetings for all team members, so how they should behave. So establish a ground rules so that they will have a effective team meeting and gets the all progress of this project. And resolve the issues. If there is any project team have the issues and they resolve the issues, he communicate with the corresponding parties. If it is he has got some issues over the or conflict over the requirement, he analyze it and then he resolve that conflict. And is there any resources related to any tools and equipment from the organization is needed, so that results he communicate with that department. So any issues in the project team, he resolve the issues. And hold team building activities. So the project team must have good communication with each other, so then only we get the project success. So he need to manage the team. We have various techniques: forming, norming, storming. So we get the team first, and then we make sure that there is a communication between the team members. They understand each other, they communicate well each other. So here's project management responsibility is to manage that project team. So whole team building activities, so that it will increase the rapport between the project team. So that is the lead to the success of the project. And facilitate conflict resolution. If there is any conflict between the project team, and he facilitate the conflict resolution, mostly use the confrontation technique, win to win, so both parties win to win situation. So based on what is the problem, and he resolves accordingly that conflict of the problem. So project plan document, the project manager defines the recognition and reward system for project team, so that he implement in this executing process group. So that is, if there is goods and services getting from third party in project plan process, he ask for the request proposals. So the bidders come up with the request proposals. In the executing process group, they select the bid. So that is conduct procurement and review the bids, review the all proposals and quotes, and then select the seller. So project manager perform these processes: direct and manage project, quality assurance process, and as part of communication management, manage stakeholder expectations, distribute information. As part of HR management plan, acquire project team, develop project team, and manage the project team. The main responsibility of project manager in executing process is manage the project team and communication, how the project is going, observe, monitor, and communicate. So as for the procurement management plan, we perform the conduct procurement. So this is about overview of executing process group, and project manager performs these 8 processes: direct and manage project, quality assurance, manage stakeholder expectation, distribute information, acquire, develop, and manage project team, and conduct procurement. So most of the time and cost is spent on this execution of the project, because this is the process is deliver the actual results. And so that is the end of the execution process group.